Welcome to the Business, Finance, and Comedy Show. I am a guy surrounded by money. Today I'm interviewing Craig Campbell. Craig, let's discuss your YouTube channel since most of my other shows are on SEO. How frequently do you get business from the question and answer shows, and is this something you keep track of?
Um, yes, I mean, yes, I get business from YouTube. It would be complete lies to say that it hasn't massively improved my brand awareness and obviously leads and whatever else that comes from it. And of course, I get sponsorship opportunities. So yes, I can make money. Now, do I keep track of it? That is the next part. It's very, very difficult for me to track everything that I do. Um, I travel around a lot, speaking at events and various things like that. Now, doing that obviously wins business. You do YouTube, that wins business. You do your blog, that wins business, blah, 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 blah. Word of mouth, all of that kind of stuff helps your business, but it's not something you can accurately track given, you know, some of the stuff that I do, because what I find in a lot of cases is that people that that watch you on YouTube, they just remember your name, then they'll Google you. So not everyone always clicks on links on YouTube, and that is why it can become very difficult to track. And of course, the same goes for speaking at events and whatnot. So it is overall really difficult to track. But what I will say is my main source of traffic or my main time is spent on YouTube.
How much do you like being a source of knowledge for people, and do you find this motivating?
Um, I that's a good question. That's a good question. Um, I like being a source of knowledge. I do enjoy it. I love to give back to people in the SEO community. I've also been in a lot of people's shoes where I didn't know anything, and I'd love to ask people questions and whatnot. However, sometimes it can become overwhelming, and sometimes people don't realize that you can't just drop everything. Like, you've got multiple platforms, so people send you messages on Instagram, Skype, email, WhatsApp, phone, Facebook, Twitter, and it can become quite difficult to try and answer them all. And so that's why I try and do the live Q&A sessions that I do on YouTube. I try and say to people, listen, I'm more than happy to help, but we need to try and do this in some form of structured manner, because I hate the multiple platforms where people can contact you on that can become overwhelming more than anything. So I do like it, and I love to give back, but yeah, within reason.
What steps do you take to grow your subscribers?
I try my best to provide good content first and foremost. I think you've got to offer value. But I do a lot of paid ads and stuff like that to boost subscribers. But I think the biggest thing over the years, whilst I've been building up the YouTube channel, has been trying to offer value. I've tried to have podcasts with different guests. I do the live Q&A sessions. I've got over-the-shoulder tutorials. So I've tried to offer as much value as I can, without trying to sell anything. And for me, between those steps and including some paid ads, I can promote my YouTube channel in front of Matt Diggity's audience, just to throw a random name out there. And I think, that's great to do as well, to obviously boost your profile, get some engagement on your videos, and get in front of another marketer's audience. So again, the paid side of it has worked very, very well for me.
You do 2 live streams a week, but do you ever struggle with other ideas for videos?
No, not really. I think I've got a lot of content that's coming out over the next few months. Things change and evolve all the time in SEO. And I think a lot of people won't know, but I also do 3 live private mastermind sessions per week. And there's always, always ideas. People don't want to just know about SEO. They want to know about the business side of things. They want to know about accounting. They want to know about hiring and firing staff. They want to talk about systems and processes. They want to talk about experiences, how much to report to customers. How do you report to customers? What are you doing? So there's so many different ideas that are not just solely SEO related. A lot of stuff out there can just give someone a different mindset. But the biggest thing that a lot of people out there have is they sometimes feel alone when you run a business or you do these things. Sometimes you can feel very alone because your normal friends in the real world probably don't understand how you make money or some of the problems that you may face. And again, just putting out content relating to that is something that I'm going to try and do, because obviously I've put out a lot of SEO content, and whilst things do change, um, SEO is SEO. So I want to try and reach a slightly broader audience, and obviously maybe share some more stuff on the paid social media side, the brand building a personal brand, speaking things. There's lots of different things that I can also branch into. So I don't think I would be stuck for content for a while.
Hypothetically, if I ran a YouTube channel like yours, how much would sponsors generally pay per video, and what kind of revenue do you get from affiliate, Google, etc.?
So sponsors, there's a number of different options. Sponsors can throw crazy money at you for a yearly sponsorship, but you can probably charge 4 or 5 thousand bucks per video, no problem at all, for um, a channel of my size. And it's in terms of affiliates, this is where that last part of the question, it's sad to say, because I have always loved affiliate marketing, but users do not click on affiliate links on YouTube videos very often. I'm not saying they don't at all, but you think of yourself, do you watch a video and then you hear someone say, whatever the tool may be, let's just say Suffer SEO for an example. Someone talks about Suffer SEO, and they literally just go to Google and Google Suffer SEO. They don't scroll down and click on your link. They really don't. Even as a personal user of YouTube, I just watch videos. I don't subscribe. I just consume the content, move on to the next one, and the job is complete. So affiliate is really difficult on YouTube, which is why a lot of people will just charge per video for promotion to that audience. And it's just the nature of the game. It's just user behavior. There's nothing you can do to force people to click that link. You can put it there. But like any platform, YouTube don't allow that video to perform that well if you're trying to lead people off of the platform. So again, you would maybe have to place the link in the first comment. So again, it's further down, and they really don't get a lot of clicks. So affiliate's a bit of a nightmare when it comes to clicking on those links on a YouTube channel.
If you could have your career all over again, what things would you do differently?
Oh God, what things? A lot of things differently. I spent 10 years of my life trying to grow and scale an agency. And whilst I'd done relatively well and made some good money from it, I learned a lot from the mistakes that I made in that agency. I hired a lot of local people. Nowadays I would outsource, or not outsource, well, outsource, call it that, I would use overseas workers that have a lower cost of living and, leverage that more than trying to find local people. I wouldn't have done client work for as long as I did. I stalled and stalled and stalled before I pivoted off in a different direction. And it wasn't until I pivoted off in a different direction that I really started to make more money. I think we go through a period of our lives where you come into this game, you're a freelancer for a while, you then start building a little team, you become an agency, and you can become very set in your ways. And that was me. I wouldn't do that again. I would like to have been able to also delegate better. When I had an agency, and I've said this on numerous different sessions with people, the the ego within me really struggled to delegate and trust other people, and it took me a long time to get my head around that. And for me, that's again something else I would have done a lot sooner, and I would have probably progressed a lot quicker than I did. So that's just some of the things that I would potentially change. But I also don't really like to look back. I look at it and say that was just the apprenticeship, and I still had fun times even though it was stressful. So I don't really look back and go, I would love to do it all again. I have enjoyed the journey so far.
Regarding websites, what sort of links do you like to get for your own projects?
Anything that is not saturated by other people. Um, we all know we can get guest posts, PR blasts, niche edits, build a PBN, whatever. But for me, finding those opportunities before they become saturated is where you really want to be at. You can look out there, and Outlook India, for example, was one of those guest posts that everyone had a link on there. And how much value is really going to come from something that every Tom, Dick, and Harry has? So for me, I do like expired domains and stuff like that as well, or aged domains, if you want to call it that, and leveraging the backlink profile that they guys have built up previously. But equally, I think a big side of things now is trying to get the PR and being creative and coming up with um, stories that are going to get you links that are really hard to achieve. And everyone's lazy in the SEO space. We all know that, including myself, by the way. But I think, it's just trying to think outside the box and do something different. And that is where I think you can make a difference between you and your competition. Anyone can buy a guest post, anyone can buy a niche edit, anyone can set up a PBN. What are you doing that is different? And I think for me, just now, the kind of real PR and trying to be creative and get yourself in these high profile publications really is what's going to make the difference.
You purchased a domain name of a politician. What blowback did you get from that?
A fair bit. So for anyone who's listening who doesn't know this story, there was a guy called Nigel Farage, leader of the Brexit party for the UK leaving the EU. And he stupidly let his domain expire. I got it. Now, the first part of the process was, how can I get PR out of this? So obviously I released the story to the press so that I got some exposure in the press, because obviously he's a high profile figure, so it was very easy to do. But by doing that, the his fan club or following or whatever you want to call it, called me all of the names under the sun. A guy, you're just a weirdo working in his mum's dungeon. Yeah, there was a fair bit of blowback, and I also had people saying, you're trying to pretend to be Nigel Farage and stuff like that. People making, mad accusations that I was stealing data and various other bits. I bought it because he was a high-profile guy. I could get some PR out of it, and all I done was repurposed his old website from the Wayback Machine, and it was a fun story to tell as well, just because of the nature of the guy. So there was no real malice behind it, but his audience and obviously the general public who don't understand SEO were like, "Oh, why would you do that? Why would you even consider that? This is weird behavior and all that stuff." But most SEO people were like, so our own community um, have laughed and had fun with it, but it's obviously the folks out there who don't understand what we do or the importance of what he let go. I got a lot of flack for a few months.
Do you still purchase expired domains?
I try not to now. I would much prefer to use a non-dropped domain name. So yes, I still buy domains. I just have a feeling, or I've had the feeling, and I know Google have, recently come out and said that they don't, expired domains is not, going to work anymore or whatever. But I've always had the feeling, probably for the last few years, that expired domains were not once as powerful as they once were. And one of the brands or one of the sponsors that I worked with on my YouTube channel, ODYS, they have a big emphasis on aged domains, not expired, because when that break happens, I do believe that some power goes with that, and I don't see the same thing happening with aged. I feel that they work a lot better, so I'd rather just go to an auction, GoDaddy auctions or whatever, and try and grab some good domains from there. Or of course, there's a ton of marketplaces out there where you can have a look and see what inventory they've got, and lots of different marketplaces have got some amazing stuff. But just try and my advice would be to try and get something that's non-dropped.
I'm wondering if domain flipping is still viable considering everything is on social media now. The helpful content update. Do you think that domain or website flipping is still viable?
Yes, I think it's still viable. I think there's going to be more to it now. Obviously, with the helpful content update and just the way that EAT and everything else has come out, or EEAT as they now call it, these things have come out now, and they're making building an affiliate website or a website in general that bit harder, because you need to put in a lot more time and effort, and the barrier to entry in terms of quality is a lot higher now. So I don't think there's going to be as many websites, being scaled up and flipped. I think people will still do it. E-com stores still have to sell themselves on. But obviously we had that craze where people were just launching site after site after site after site, doing Amazon affiliate, getting it up to 5K a month, and then selling it on for up to 50 times that. So it's not as easy now, but I think, the quality businesses out there still have to sell. People still want to invest, and I don't think it's as gone as some may think. But you're right. In terms of, I think, with any brand you're building or any website you're building, you want to integrate social media, YouTube, video. So you're really building a business and not just a website anymore. And I think that will scare a lot of people off, because it's going to make that job that little bit harder, and it's going to take a bit longer to get to where we need to be. So I think it will flush out a lot of the rubbish that's out there, but I think we'll still be able to do it, no problem at all.
Are you making any pivots in the current climate?
Um, Not so much. I'm doing any kind of real pivot that I have been doing, and maybe in the last year or two, spend a bit more money in paid ads. That's all. I still love SEO. I still believe organic traffic is a great source of traffic. But investing a bit more into kind of paid advertising, whether that be Google, whether that be paid social media, I think we need to diversify our traffic streams. And I I've been having a lot of success in doing that. So I'm not pivoting away to pay per click by any stretch of the imagination. I just think as a business owner, it's an important part of the mix for any project that I'm working on. And I think it makes perfect sense to get more involved in it and learn more about it and try and test things. And of course, there's obviously volatile updates coming out all the time. So I just don't want for my websites to, get slapped and disappear off the face of the earth overnight just because I rely on SEO. It's I think you've just got to do everything, including YouTube and socials and everything you can do to drive traffic, get on it. And that's the only real thing I would say. I'm not, 5 years ago, I would have said, 90% of what I do is all organic and fully, really relying on organic. Whereas now, it's the percentages are a lot less, shall we say. But that's me just, growing as a businessman as well. I just think we've got to diversify those traffic sources or take advantage, of those traffic sources and not just relying, SEO. I want more than that. And, if I'm going to get scale in terms of making money, then, whether that be paid social media, whether it be something else, whether it even be Reddit, for example, then why not? If there's 10,000 visitors coming from Reddit every month and you can get it, then go for it. And I think you'd be crazy not to look at that.
If someone, perhaps like me, was determined to still do websites, despite most people thinking niche websites are dead, what would you suggest they do to make the sites thrive?
I think, if you want to do it, you're going to have to build authority and trust behind that website. So you're going to, for me, and I'm not categorizing you or any other niche website builder, I'm not categorizing anyone, but a lot of niche website builders don't want their face out there. They don't want their face on the About Us page. They don't want to do PR. And I think these things on those websites are vital. And people don't want to buy off a faceless website. People buy into people. And I think that's where this whole EAT thing comes from. And obviously social media and the knowledge panel. It's joining the dots for Google to trust you. And that does mean putting a face behind a business, having a person there. And that is uncomfortable for many people. And I think no matter what, you can do it. It doesn't have to be you. There's other ways to make a person and build up those authority signals and stuff. But when it comes to YouTube or social media, again, I think if there's not a person on it, or it's the blonde model from Fiverr who's on a million other websites, it smells of rubbish. And for me, I think you do need to just, put yourself out there, and that's not for everyone. But I think for niche website builders, because it's went the other way and people were just making site after site after site after site with no other signals really being looked at for a period of time, that is why, all of these kind of rules are in place. So I think it still can be done, but I think, you're just going to have to put a hell of a lot more effort into it, and that is what as I say, many people are work shy, but there's plenty of people out there who are prepared to dig in. So I think if you do all of that and you can build up that trust and authority, and try and diversify and get your social media going and do everything that basically a real business would do, there's absolutely no reason why you can't continue doing that.
What would you say are the best alternative business models right now as opposed to niche websites?
E-com, you know, e-com and drop shipping are just easy. And, for me, people are always going to be looking to buy online. Now, some of the things that I didn't like about niche websites, because I've had them myself, I hated when Amazon continued to cut their commission. So, they cut their commission, cut their commission, cut their commission to a point where it was no longer viable financially to do it. Now, of course, Amazon are not the only way of making money. So you then had the ability to, uh, potentially use ads on the website as another way of making money. But that slows your website down. And again, Google don't want slow websites. So you were always fighting against something with these niche websites. But an e-com store, people are always, always, always going to buy products, whatever those products may be. So finding a niche, launching an e-com store, you don't even need to hold stock. You just need to market the bloody thing. Drop shipping has always worked very, very well for me. I have tried to hold stock of certain e-com stores. That's been a problem in itself. And I think, for me, e-com is probably the way forward just now. People are setting up e-com stores for everything, whether that be clothes, whatever. There's just anything you can buy online. There's so much money to be made, and you can really become the brand in those markets, given the skills that you've got. Everyone says, but yeah, Craig, loads of people have got this and that. Not loads of people have the skills to rank a website and market a website. Believe you me, I never ever thought that I would become anything. And if I went in with that mindset, I would have never had a YouTube channel. I would have never spoken at the events that I had. I'm no different from you or anyone else. I think you've just got to think big and go for it. The reality is there's not that many people. There's a lot of people who do marketing. There's not many people who are really good at it. And I've traveled the world, and I can hand on heart say, yes, I have met some very good people who have amazing stories and make amazing money. But we're not talking thousands of people. We're talking probably 100 tops over the world that I've met. I've not met everyone, of course, but I've met a lot of people who talk a good game, and they can't perform for one reason or another. So I think, you have to have the right mindset, positive mindset, and just attack it the best you can. And I think if you do that, then the sky's the limit.
Because it's mandatory to discuss AI in marketing videos these days, how are you using AI in your business?
So I have probably been one of the only people who've not been a strong advocate for AI. As much as I'd love to, and I have tested it, I've grown websites and then they've fallen off a cliff. I use AI for a lot of things, including social media. They can do your tweets, they can do this, they can give you ideas, whatever. I use AI for a lot of those things, but I've always steered clear of it for the content side of things, purely because I always thought that it wasn't quite good enough and Google would pick up on it. And I think I've said that in the numerous interviews I've had since all of this kind of stuff's come out. So I've not ever really used it on any of my money websites. Yes, I've had test websites. Yes, I've built tons of pages of AI content, and I've found out very quickly that that stuff does not stick. And I think AI is great. I think it's obviously developed massively, even from where it was this time last year to now. Mid-journey, the pictures that are being produced, it's all amazing, absolutely amazing. However, I still don't think it's perfect, and it's not something I would really want to, you know, have a strong focus on at this point on you know, making websites with it or anything like that, or even imagery. I think Google can detect that, and for now, I'm still going to sit in the fence and not utilize it too much. Yes, I'll use it for tweets. Yes, I'll use it for, ideas and various other bits and bobs. But as an actual SEO tool, I am not interested in it in the slightest. Not seen anything to convince me otherwise, and I will probably remain that way until there comes a time where I have to jump on the bandwagon, but I just think we are still a little short of that just now.
What do you think are the most interesting black hat things you've done over the years?
Oh God. um Trying to think of something that I can say that's not going to get me into trouble. I've done a lot of things that I probably can't say too much about because it just brings back uh negative thoughts and feedback from people. But some of the things, cloaking was always a good one. I used to do a lot of affiliate marketing using a cloaking technique. And that was obviously just to throw off the affiliate managers. So, I can have a really, I used to do Bing ads, right? For example, and I used to bid on hotels brand names. Now, as part of the affiliate terms and conditions, you're not supposed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. But if you use the cloaking script, and the reason I say Bing is the cloaking script didn't work on Google. Google were too clever for it, but it worked in Bing, and we made a lot of money doing that. So what would happen is the affiliate managers going, "Oh, all of this traffic's coming from this website that's out there, and we could dictate the keyword and everything else, not from Bing ads bidding on their brand terms." So that one made a lot of money. But black hat techniques, PBNs, all of that kind of stuff I used to love doing. They worked very, very well. And PBNs, niche edits, or SEO links, they were obviously hacked links, but they were like 50 pence or whatever, really cheap. Again, that would be something people would deem as black hat. I mean, some of the stuff I've done, I have pretended to be a lawyer to um the image trick that on newspaper websites where it says copyright unknown. I used to have a fake lawyer website, reach out to them and say, "Listen, you're using my client's image. Um, we don't want any trouble. We just want you to place a link to here, and my client will be happy." And we used to do that. And again, that's well, it's illegal in some countries pretending to be a lawyer. So I'm going to shut my mouth at that because a lot of the other stuff I've done is probably very sketchy. But again, I was a young kid. I was learning, done daft things, and there's been a lot of black hat tricks. But obviously, some of the stuff I've mentioned there, PBNs, cloaking, they're sketchy, but they're not really deemed as illegal. So I'll leave it at that because I don't want to get myself into too much trouble.
How bothered are you by people trolling videos?
Not bothered in the slightest. I've always had trolls since I started to put my face out there. And listen, we all are going to get trolls. It doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, where you're from, you're getting a troll. If someone just does not like what's coming out there, they're going to pick on something and you're going to cop some flack. You can't be liked by everyone. But if you want to make big money and you want to be on YouTube or whatever, then obviously that comes with a price on it. And that does mean, sadly, trolling. And it's horrible. It's horrible when it first happens and you're not used to that. But it's you become oblivious to it, and the way I see it is if people don't like what I say, then don't watch it. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to try and pass information on. And if anyone likes what I'm saying and cares to listen and implement, then great. But if not, it's your loss. And that's the kind of mindset that I've kind of got on it now. I don't get too fussed. Someone trolls me, it's just block and ignore, block and ignore, block and ignore. And that's it. What I find is a lot of these trolls who say things are people you've never met. They don't know you. They don't know the context of what you're saying. And there's just a massive percentage of people in the world who suffer from it. Even Hollywood actors have trolls. So, it's they're out there in every walk of life, and there's nothing, anyone can do about it. So just got to take it in the chin and hope that it dies down eventually.
Where can people follow you?
So you can follow me on YouTube or any social media platform. All you need to do is search for Craig Campbell SEO. Now, the reason that I say SEO at the end, there is a few other Craig Campbells who are relatively well known. But if you look for Craig Campbell SEO, you'll find me on most social media platforms. You can find my website, craigcampbellseo.com, or you can watch the content on YouTube. There's a lot of different stuff on there. So hopefully you enjoy it.
I would like to thank Craig for the interview. People watching can like, comment, share, subscribe and whatever else you do to videos if you're watching in the future. If you don't find notifications annoying, you can turn notifications on.